Hello and welcome back to a brand new episode of What You Talking About. Today, my guest is Sam Cournoyer. He is an established Games athlete heading back to the CrossFit Games in just a couple of weeks for his 6th time. He's competed as an individual and stood on top of the podium as part of Team CrossFit Mayhem. And he is such a seasoned athlete, it was great to hear all about his various experiences within the sport. We chat all about his hockey background and his competitive streak, which he believes will keep going even when his CrossFit career is over. It is a great episode, and as always, don't forget to like, rate and subscribe to be the first to hear all about our new episodes and content. Enjoy! Sam, thank you so much for joining me. How are you doing?
Good, you?
Yeah, I'm really, really well, thank you. I know you are, we are, 3 weeks out, if that, from the games. How are you feeling? Is it all kind of preparation in full swing?
Yeah. I'm pretty tired now, you know. Games prep is definitely like my favorite part of the season, but it's it's a lot. So can't wait for my deal of the week and be ready to compete.
Sure. So at what point do you, because I know training fully ramps up before the games, obviously. At what point do you kind of slow down before you kind of head to Texas?
Yeah, I think it's kind of different for everyone, we're all different, and so I personally like maybe like start cutting volume uh maybe a week before, try to keep the intensity and like really like taper for competition maybe like the Friday before the game, so like 4 to 5 days before ish.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the days when I did try, like to taper like way before a little bit, and like try to keep things smooth. But I personally feel like if I taper too much, it's kind of like making me soft, and like the first couple of workouts are always hard when I compete. So I tried to like I did try it for semifinal, like to not deload too much, and it kind of like went well. So I'm gonna try to do the same thing for the games. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We'll dive in massively into the season a little bit more in a bit, but I want to start back at the beginning because it's one of my favorite things to find out about everyone is how they found CrossFit, which is now, of course, such a huge part of your life. Like, what was your first experience with CrossFit? How did you find it?
So I found CrossFit back in 2014. So to make it like a quick story, because it could be like the full podcast if we wanted to, but so back in the day, I mean, growing up, I played high level hockey, ice hockey all my life, and back in the days, a friend of mine was coaching CrossFit in the gym. So after my hockey career was kind of like done, and so he just, he was talking to me like, hey, you should just come try CrossFit. Like it's pretty fun and with the people and stuff. And back in the days when I was playing hockey, I wasn't the guy who was willing to, like work out outside of the ice. I was just like there to play hockey, and didn't want much. Uh, I wasn't willing to train that much outside of the ice. And so after a couple of times, he convinced me to just like like give it a shot. So I went there on I think it was kind of like a Tuesday night after work, and did my first CrossFit class, and since then I've been doing it a lot of times. So this is how I basically found CrossFit, through a friend who was coaching, and yeah.
Yeah. And so being an athlete, but not kind of having that extra motivation, I suppose, to be doing all the extra training, how do you then find yourself being a competitive CrossFit athlete, which I can imagine probably to a degree takes more than hockey because you're not part of a team, right? I know obviously, of course, you've had team experience, but a
Yeah.
lot of the training is on your own and a lot of the competing. So how did you then kind of switch and go, oh, actually, I want to train more. I find this quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like back in the days when I started CrossFit, like it's I was working full time in construction, so like when I found CrossFit and started doing it, I was only doing like 2 3 classes a week, and you know with times and years, I mean, I just kind of like everybody else, like start 2 to 3 times a week, and like a couple of months after, I was doing it full every day, and when I kind of like get good at it, if you want to say it like that. Like I started doing some extra work on the side after classes, being there full Saturday, and like that's just how I kind of like I just started to do more CrossFit and more works, and to be now, I mean, a full time CrossFit athlete. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know if that answered your question, but this is kind of like how I
I
did
did
it
it.
actually.
Did you realize when you started? Well, I suppose even 2014, there wasn't a lot of full-time CrossFit athletes. I think now we're probably seeing more than ever. But did you
Yeah.
realize when you first started and when you kind of really started getting into it, did you ever think you could get a career out of it?
Oh, not even close. No, not even close. Like when I started CrossFit back in the days, is like I had to stop playing hockey because of a car accident, and so I wasn't allowed to play any contact sport anymore. It could be dangerous for me and stuff. So I had to find kind of like a new way to do sports. My two main sports growing up was playing hockey and doing boxing with my dad. So like, got to kind of like remove those two sports from my list because just too much contact.
Mhm.
And when I started doing CrossFit, like I was working full time, and like I just like the fact like getting there at night and train with people, not being my like all by myself in like in traditional gym doing curls. Having like a chance to do some social and talk with people, and like this is kind of like what made me fall in love with CrossFit at first place. Just being there for an hour, having fun, working out with people and hang out, making friends. And back in the days, that was it. Like I never thought I would have like push it that far and like actually enjoy doing more workouts and more works. And, so it was just like a kind of like a exit for me, and just you know having the chance to do something else than hockey.
Mm.
So no, back in the days, I never thought would have make it that far in the sports, and just being full time now doing it and enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things, isn't it? People still enjoy it, which we hear often about other sports. You can kind of fall out of love with it a little bit, but it never seems to be the case with CrossFit because I think it starts as such a, as you say, like a social and something fun to do, and it just so happens,
Yeah.
oh, I can make a career out of this.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely, I think it will be like that for every athlete who does like a sport full time. I think at a certain point it does maybe take a little bit the fun out of it, especially like like in the season. Like it's
Hmm.
I feel like this is the thing I don't like about like the CrossFit Games like season. It's like it's a long season. Like um we kind of like start right after Wodapalooza every year after like beginning of January, and like after that the ball just keep rolling, and like open, quarterfinal, semifinal games. Like I feel like those 8 months just like it's a long time just thinking about one thing, and like but when the off season comes in, like this is kind of like where I found the fun in it again more. Like every year we go in the States with my family, and in vacation, and always drop like I always sign up at the 6 or 7 a.m. classes near far, just to do like one classes with people, and like actually work out more like softly and just enjoying training with people, like doing benches and curls with the boys in the gym. That this is kind of like where I do have like a lot more fun. Like as being a games athlete at a certain point, I do enjoy the process, but like it's my job to like to perform and compete. So it's kind of like you gotta find a balance through that, but it's definitely harder to do. Harder to do than to say, yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting now. I think the off season is becoming less and less of an off season because more opportunities are coming up left, right, and center. How do you balance that as obviously, as you say, being a full-time athlete and needing to perform and needing to do these events potentially? How do you
Yeah.
balance that with, oh, I need to have an off season?
Yeah. I mean, there's people who does like they have a full off season like with a lot of competition in it, and like I mean I personally can do that. I'm a dad of two, and like I want to enjoy time with them when it's actually my off season, and like I'm sacrificing so much time with my family that when it comes to the off season, like I don't even think about competing. Like the one year that I could go to Rogue, I had to cancel because we were having my daughter, and the year after, like I made the qualifier, but like at the end I didn't go, and was kind of like happy to not go. Like it just, it's a lot. It's a
Mm.
lot, and so yeah, I think you gotta be at a certain point. I feel like people will come at a certain point that you're gonna have to pick like whatever you want to do, the CrossFit game season or just competing CrossFit, whatever you want, like in whatever competition you want to qualify to. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, and but I personally need it off season, just because, like I said, it's a lot. It's a lot of process in those 8 months when the season kick off. So it's yeah, but that's me.
Mm. And you're, of course, you're one of the more experienced athletes in the field, and you're going into what will be, correct me if I'm wrong, but your sixth games,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
you understand the season a lot more. Do you think that, obviously, of course, your family is a massive element of that, but do you think the experience you have, and I don't know, maybe the confidence in your season helps you to make them decisions of not competing as much outside of the game season?
Uh, I don't know. That's a good one. Good question. It's I just feel like I feel like once you like if you want to compete at the games, you got to focus everything you have on that, right? Um, like yes, I could go compete and do maybe 3, 4 other competitions in the off season and maybe try to compete in the season, but I feel like at a certain point it will be just too much. Um, Even with my experience and the background that I have now, like I still need to put like 100% effort in my season if I want to do great. Like it's
Mm.
I just like if I just take it easy and just doesn't put any kind of like pressure on me and like in my training and my routine and stuff like that, like I would not be able to compete the way I can right now. Especially now, like the sports it's evolving so fast. The field is getting strong. Like every year we're kind of like, all right, this is it. Like we cannot be that much better. And like the next season we're like, dang it. Yes, we can actually. Like it just never stops. So it's and like every time there's something else happening, like the races are closer, like it just and like this, like I said, like the sports is really evolving fast, and like people are getting fit really quick. So yeah, I gotta be like 100% in it or not. That's it. Like that's just how I see it.
Yeah, I think it's a really good way of looking at it. And as you say, it is, it's getting a lot bigger and a lot more people are interested. And I suppose an element of it is getting a lot younger as well, because we've got obviously a lot of the teen athletes coming up into the division. And I don't know whether they are like just taking every single opportunity they can get because it's exciting and new. I want to talk, I know you mentioned on your chat with Dave Castro that this is the first year that you haven't been in Cookville for your whole
Yep.
season. So
Yep.
going back to the origins, like how did your relationship with Mayhem start? When did you first start training with Mayhem?
So the first time I went to actually, like, let's say in Cookville was for the Mayhem Classic back in 2020, right before COVID. That Rich organized an individual competition for like 2, 3 days and in the gym at Cookville, and this is kind of like where the first time I went there, did the competition and got my ass totally kicked. Um, I was not my best competition, so when I came back from that competition, me and a friend of mine who was coaching me at the time was like, "Hey, maybe let's try to maybe buy the programming, and let's see what they're doing. Let's see what they're doing for training that we don't." And so we just buy the programming for like the first 2 months, I think, and after 2 months, Jake Locker, the Mayhem athlete director, just reached out to me through Instagram saying like, "Hey, we saw that you were to the games last year, and you went to the classic, and you're following the programming now. Would you like to maybe like we give you the programming for free and just in exchange make some story on the sides and a couple posts if you want?" So back in the days, I was like, "Hell yeah, I want that!" Like that, I will save $80 a month. So that for me was huge back in the days. So our relations just kind of like started like that, and a couple of months later, I think Jay just reached out to me saying like, "Hey, we're hosting like a train with Rich weekend. I don't know if you know what it is, but like we would love to have you here if you want, and just come train for the weekend and stuff like that." And so I reached out back to Jake and saying, "Oh hell yeah, I'm down for that." So this is kind of like how everything started. Um, I was kind of like the first one from the outside to get in and like train and barn and all that stuff. And now there's like 60 athletes there living there full time and training. So I was kind of like the run test of the whole thing. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, it just and from there like this, the relationship just evolved with times and years, and like people in Cookville are really great. Like we share a lot of same values, so that's kind of like why it make it like a good click. And yeah, I was just lucky actually.
I love that that's how it started. I think I always, whenever I speak to people about Mayhem, it always sounds a little bit like they got headhunted for it in a sense, like they kind of got picked out. So it's great to know that even back then they were doing it. Of course, they are like the OG training camp. I wonder, did your competitiveness and like the way you viewed, because of course you'd been to the games already prior to Mayhem, but did your attitude towards training and competing change as you joined them and as you've been working with them?
Oh yeah, I mean definitely. I learned a lot in the gym, outside of the gym, being in Cookville with those people. It's I'll be like forever grateful for what the Mayhem Empire brought in my life. Like just not as an athlete, but as a human being. Sam the friend, Sam the dad. They brought a lot in my life, and I'm really grateful for that. And but yeah, I mean, I did learn a lot of stuff, and but getting there on the first time, I was still the same Sam that I am today, like the one who loves to compete, love to push training, and but also like have fun in the gym and hang out with the boys and the girls. So it's not a lot of stuff changed, but like well because of them, but I did learn a lot of it, like a lot
Mm.
of stuff
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
And from your very first games, did you envision that you would still be going to the games another 5 times after that first
No,
appearance?
no. I mean, even 2019 was kind of a surprise. Like back in the days, I was with Decacomp and Michelle, and I made it to my first regional in 2018, and I finished I think 10 or 11 overall. And like me and her talking after that was like, hell, I mean, that was a pretty good weekend for your first big competition. And the season after, when they announced like I think it was like you qualified through the top 20 of the open, and like the rest will be through some competition. I can't even remember because it was too complicated, but I just remember that when they announced that, we kind of like her hope was just like, well, let's just not put a lot of pressure. This is going to be really hard to go the games with that systems. And so but it was cool because at the end I did qualify through the top 20 worldwide open, and went to my first games with her, and it was amazing. So like once I did that, I mean, I think once you qualify as a games athlete, like there's like a mentally switch that you know pop in your head that wasn't there before. You're like, hey, I mean, I can do it. Like if I did it this year, I can do it again next year.
Mhm.
But it's never guaranteed. Like we saw it this year in semifinal. Like there's games athletes who did not qualify and then been in the game for 10 years now. And so yeah, I mean, after 2019, I was just like, well, let's try it again. And kind of
Mhm.
like after 2020, I was like, well, let's do it again. And like I feel like I'm just saying that every year. Like,
Every
you
year.
know, I'm fishing. I'm thinking always like 1 year at a time. So like I'll finish this year games, probably sit right now where I am in my front porch and being like, am I going again or not? And just think about that. And like once I made a decision, if I go again, I'll be like, well, let's do it another year. Um, you know,
At what point do you make that decision? Because I suppose you don't really have to decide until like the open, right?
yeah. No, I mean, I feel you need to couple of weeks, that's for sure. Even months. Like even this after this year, I will have to really really sit and like think about it, like if I want to keep going or not. Um, physically I'm all good. Like yes, I do have some minor injury on the side that I have to deal with, but like I think it's like that for everyone, right? But I think mentally and like where I am in my life right now as a dad, you know, I've been doing it professionally, if you want to say like that, for 6 years, but I've been in the sports for a long time now. I'm still young. It's just I really want to sit after the games and see like if this is still what I want. And So I'll take my time. I'll take my time and see if I go back next year or not. But I'll start by doing this year games and we'll see after.
Yeah, absolutely. We will. I want to dive into the season a little bit, but I can't not talk about it because you, of course, have been to the games many times as an individual, but you had a pretty special experience on a team. And I just want to touch on it because going to the game, I say it all the time, team is so underrated, and
Yeah.
I am such a huge fan of watching the team competition. You, of course, had an experience that so many people I would want to compete with, the greatest team competitor of all time with Rich and on a team, and such an incredible games for you in 2022. Can you just tell me a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, I mean, like I said to everyone, like I did have the best of the best of the best experience possible, you know.
Hmm.
Um like it wasn't easy to compete in team, but my job was pretty easy, you know. Like I mean, having Rich Froning as a partner, Andrea and Tara, the girls were amazing. Both of those girls could qualify individually for like 10 years if they wanted to. They're super crazy fit. So me getting into team was just like, hey buddy, try to keep up, you know. So it wasn't like it was the hard. I mean, it was hard to compete. Don't get me wrong, but like it was a easy job to do. Like just learn from those threes and like keep like follow the lead and everything will be fine. So it was fun. Like I did have the best thing, like the best experience possible. Like getting into games with the best team ever. Go there, break the records for like Evan strike wins, win the games. Like I mean, can't really ask for better than that, right? So the team is definitely underrated. I feel like I mean I think we saw Dave talking to Panchik last week or 2 weeks ago about they're thinking about separating teams and the individual from the same competition so NDs could do both. I think that will be amazing. Like I feel like I mean I believe that doing CrossFit is way more fun and harder as a team than individually.
Hmm.
The game is just so different. It's so much more fun. There's so much more strategy. You're not alone. You got to be thinking about your partners, your teammates, and make sure that everything fits and everything's in synchro. If someone is, having like an injury or someone is having a bad day, you gotta, like you gotta be there. And, give it a little more in your from your tank to the team and like be there for that teammate. And I just feel like it's because I play team sports on my entire childhood, but like I just feel like team is this is what actually CrossFit is all about. Like what we do as an individual is I can understand people saying like, it's impressive and like they're amazed by what we're doing, but me personally, I'm just like, nah, team is way more like hard to do and fun to do and just like it's just better. At the end, it's
Yeah.
just better. And I'll definitely go back team. That's for sure. I really want to go back team, even if there's like just trying to win the games again as a team or just go there and try to enjoy it. Um, I do miss it. So yeah, team is
Hmm.
the best.
Are you stuck at a plateau and without a recent PB? Mergs has you covered. Bringing you the highest performance CrossFit and weightlifting equipment on the market, Mergs is your secret weapon to set a new best. Whether that's knee sleeves, grips, or tape, Mergs has everything you need to stay protected and performing. Head over to mergs.com now and save 15% on all orders with the code WOD15. That was going to be my next question is was it a one-time thing or will you go back? But I look forward to that then. Well, I look forward to asking you one of my quick-fire questions at the end as well to see who you'd maybe think about having with you. But like it's such an, as you say, you had such an incredible experience. But I'm
Yeah,
curious, and I remember asking Tasia this question as well because she, of course, had the same experience, but a few years prior. How
yeah,
much pressure did you feel when you got asked to be in that team? Because as you say, it was kind of an easy job. You just had to follow everyone's lead. But
yeah.
was there an
Well, I
immense
mean,
amount of pressure?
I didn't feel any pressure. Like I feel like the teammate that I have did a really really great job of just showing me how to do team stuff in CrossFit. Like my fitness level was pretty, I mean was high. Like I was decent fit to be with them. So but I'm not gonna lie, there was sometimes. I mean, couple of times, maybe in my mind, where I was like, "Well, don't mess it up, buddy, because you're the only new one in the team." Like the three of them was there the year before and they won. So if something happened, it's all on you. But at the end, I didn't feel any pressure or something. Like it was just like I said, like my job was really easy with them. Like they were so damn good at it that I learned pretty. I think I learned pretty quick how to do it, and like it was just once we got it, like we kind of like knew in the gym, like all right, we got this. Like like it's going well. So yeah, I mean, I didn't feel any big pressure, but still, like sometimes in my mind, like, hey, don't mess it up.
I can
So
imagine. I love watching team, and I really want one year them to do teams like mic'd up so we can hear the communication that goes on.
that
And
would be great. That would be awesome. Kind of like what they're doing, like in NBA, NHL, NFL. Like just put some like micro over
yeah,
like on the shirts and see what's happening on the field. That would be great. That would be great.
it would be so good because, as I say, it's I love watching team. I many times will prefer watching it to individual, and I think, as you say, it's what the sport of CrossFit is all about. And of course, you then went back individual last year, and you're back again this year. So let's dive into this season because it does feel like it's been a bit of an odd season for many. There have been a lot of roller coasters for many athletes, but for someone who, of course, you've achieved what I assume was the goal to get to the games. How has the season been overall for you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's the first time. If I'm not lying, I think it's the first time that I don't. How can I say that? I don't want to say it like this because it's gonna sound wrong, but um, I think it's the first year where there's a part of me who don't really care about it. As weird as it can sound, like
Hmm.
I mean, I want to do the best I can in every competition I'll show up. But at the point that I am right now, I like, I'm not the young buck, 21 years old, who's hungry and like, just want to prove to everyone like, hey, I got this. Like I'll be good. I'm over the stage. Like I still want to compete the best I can and push as hard as I can. But CrossFit is not my life. CrossFit Games is something that I do because I like it and I enjoy it. Um, when I'll be done with CrossFit Games or whatever, like I'll still be competing in something else until I die. Like I will find something else just to push through and like just kind of like have a hub. I mean, this is just who I am. Like I'm already thinking about doing like a full Ironman later in my life, a marathon. I want to do like some paddleboard racing. Like there's a lot of stuff I want to do outside of CrossFit when my career will be done. But those things will still be competing. Like
Yeah.
this is just part of my DNA. This is who I am. So yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the first season where I'm going into the season being like, I'll die on the floor. I'll give everything I have, but like at the end, I mean, it is what it is. Like I can't control anything else outside of just me and my performance and what I can do from it. Like the workouts, I can control them. What people does that in the workout, I can really control it. Um, anything else. So I'm just doing my best I can every day in the gym. I'll get there and do everything I can on the floor to be the best version of me, and that's it. Um, I'm kind of like, um, I'm actually enjoying the season so far.
Yeah.
Like I don't have the nerves for the games yet. Like I'll get the nerves some maybe the day before, like when I'll get there for check-in, like every year. But I just want to be. I mean, I just want to go there and perform the best I can, like I did at semifinal. And if I do that, I'll be happy with it.
Yeah. I think it's so important. I think CrossFit is for anyone, whether they're at the level you're at or someone who just goes to classes, it can be quite all encompassing sometimes. It's quite, obviously the community aspect is so wonderful, but it can become quite, as I say, all encompassing, and everyone just gets really caught up in it. And I know people that compete at an amateur level, and it kind of takes so much up of their life. But I love the way you put that. It's not your life, it's something
Yeah,
you do.
yeah, exactly. It's I feel like the one thing that is how can I like the way I see it is I'll compare to like hockey and NHL. Like I feel like CrossFit, like everything is focused on the CrossFit Games. Like that weekend represent like kind of like represent you after the whole rest of the season. But I'm like, wait a second, like in hockey, that team doesn't make the playoff, or that team who lost in the final Stanley Cup or whatever, like, there's good player there in those teams that did not win the Stanley Cup that are still recognized to be the best of the best. I
Hmm.
feel like the CrossFit Games season is kind of like, you can have like a super great season, and kind of like, if you messed up at the games, like, well, everything is done. Like, oh, he's not good anymore. I'm like, wait a second, that guy or that girl might just have like a bad weekend or something. It doesn't like remove the fact that she's been, you know, destroying her body and pushing the limits all year long in the gym just to get there. So I feel like there's a, um, you know, uh, like, there's only one winner in each categories. It doesn't mean the second place sucks. Yes, finishing seconds probably suck, but at the end, like, if we look at it, like, I will take second place anytime. Like,
Yeah.
so it's I feel like we all compete to win, and I hope everyone go to the games to win. But like I said, there's only one winner, and I think there's a recognition that needs to be um, put in place a little bit better for the
Hmm.
athletes overall, and like and hopefully it will be there in a couple of years so people can actually make a great living out of it, and not just surviving every month, and enjoy the process a little bit more. That's my
Yeah.
opinion.
I think I completely agree, and it's funny, from these Castro videos that we're getting. I was listening to one the other day with Emma Lawson, who, of course, is so incredible and competed as a teenager. But she said something, and she said, "I'm learning not to value my self-worth by placing on a leaderboard,"
Yeah,
and how important that is, because, as you say, it's not all about that
it is
weekend.
twice more important for her, because like, she's still young, she's a girl. Like, the truth is, like, I feel like girls put a lot more pressure than the guys. I don't know what I mean. I can understand why, but I don't understand it at the same time, because I'm a man. But I just feel like, after seeing things that happened with Haley, Matt O'Brien, like, it was cool to learn. I mean, see her saying that, like, being so young and understanding that, hey, no matter where I finish on the leaderboard, it doesn't represent me. That is, I feel like there's a lot of people who does that mistake. Like, oh, I finished just 11 at the CrossFit Games, I suck. I'm like, no, buddy. I mean, you doesn't suck. You don't suck.
Hmm.
You're pretty good. Like, you're pretty decent good. So no, yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
And I think it was the very first Fittest on Earth documentary where someone said, "You have no idea how good you have to be to suck at the CrossFit Games." And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
especially nowadays, like the hundreds of thousands of people that do CrossFit, to get to the top 40 is unbelievable.
No, yeah. I mean, like I said, the level of the games is getting higher every year. Like, now, I think, I mean, everyone does it full time. Like,
Mhm.
there's might be like a couple of people who works part time or full time, but I mean, if they're doing it full, I mean, I don't know how they're doing it. Like, it means that those people are really freaking fit. Like, if you can work full time and be a CrossFit Games athlete at the same time, yeah, good job, because I could not. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. So with that view now, as you say, you obviously care, but you don't care as much, etc. Like with semi-finals this year, I found this probably one of the most exciting semi-finals to watch, and I don't know whether it was because of the way the workouts fell, but it seemed no one really knew who was going to the games until like literally the fifth and sixth workouts. Like, how
Yeah.
did you like? I assume you, of course, wanted to go to the games, but would you have been happy if you hadn't have qualified? Like, how did you view semis?
No, I mean, I would. I mean, I would not have been happy
Yeah.
if I didn't qualify. Like, once you make that decision to go back for a full year, like, you want to make it to the end. Um, but still, like, after seeing like what happened in first week and second week, like, I mean, it doesn't really matter. But like, because every time you step on the competition floor, I believe that you gotta earn it. Like, even if you're Jeff Adler, Justin Medeiros, Vellner, whatever, like, even if you're one of the best in the game, like, anything can happen at any moment. Like, ask Roman. Like, being first all the weekend and get an injury on the last day of the games, and you don't win. So, like I said, like, everything can happen, and you gotta earn that spots. And but I think I did perform the way I did at semifinal, because there's a side of me who did understand that, hey, CrossFit is not my life. It's just something I do for fun. So let's try to enjoy it like I was back in the days. And it makes my semifinal really fun. And I did enjoy it. It was fun to compete. It made me a better competitor, I believe. So I'm just trying to bring all of that again with me at the games, and hopefully it will work again.
Yeah. What are you like at competition weekend? Do you keep an eye on the leaderboard? Do you know what everyone else is doing around you, or are you just kind of head down, crack on?
Uh it depends. I think I like to watch. Like if I know I have a good workout, like let's say I'm finished first in my heat or something like that. Or I know I did really really good. I love to watch the leaderboard just to see like where I finished. But like if I have a bad workout or I know it wasn't like the greatest, I'm just not gonna look at it because I know. I mean, it's not worth it. Like I already know that it did not go well, so why make it twice worse and just look at the numbers when they
Yeah.
don't really matter? Like I feel like I mean, I said that now, but like back in the days, I was watching every work. Like after every workout, was just like I was a young kid, just refreshing the pages, and I make sure like I get the best spot possible on the leaderboard. But now I'm just like, all right, it is what it is. It's done. Move on, and we'll try to do better next one. And I mean, like you, it's not because you have one big bad workout at the games that the whole thing is done. I think Yelner's a proof of that.
Yeah.
Like he finished last or almost last at least once every year in one workout, and the guy found a solution to finish on the podium all the time. So look, you can have a bad workout and it will be fine. So
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah. It was, and that's the thing. We saw it so much this year. I think that first workout really really messed a few people up, I suppose is the way to put it. But of course the layout of the weekend made it really interesting because half the weekend was on one day.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it was pretty weird just to go out there, do one workout, and we're done. Like, all right. Um, but I truly believe that if you mix some workouts, like take the same workouts but put them in different order, the leaderboard would be different. That's for sure. Definitely, just because the eats the day after would be different with different people. Everything would be different. And I believe that there's some people who qualify would have not qualified if the workouts were in different order, and I believe that people who didn't qualify might have qualified if
Mhm.
let's say we put the run clean and jerk and we put that one on Sunday, and we take the sprint workout and we put it on Saturday and stuff like that. It'll have made the leaderboard different. I mean, 100% different.
Yeah.
I believe.
I agree. I think it was quite interesting as a spectator to watch this year. I think because we really didn't know. I think until them names were called, we probably could have confirmed maybe two or three people, but it was all to play for. Going in now, like as we say, we're a mere few weeks out now from the games.
Yep.
Workouts are trickling through. How are you feeling? Like, when a workout gets announced, do you start thinking about it, or do you kind of go, oh, we'll assess that when we're in Fort Worth?
Well, I mean, not really. Like once they announced Chad, I was like, all right, we'll do 1,000 step up. That will be boring. I mean, I believe it's a good test to do. It will be a painful workout to do at the games, but still, it's pretty boring to do. So I'm like, I saw a lot of people who are doing it, like just trying it. I'm like, I will not. I'm doing some like interval works of like step ups with ankle bike or like burpee and step ups, and like, you know, I'm trying to put my body through some of kind of like the work I'll have to do for Chad. But I did it once in my life. I think it was like 2021, and I still remember what it is. So I'm like, I don't have to test that workout again. Um, same for this kind of like this. Same for the swim and run, or run swim actually. And I was swimming a lot of volume, and now that I know it's only 800 meter, well, I'm not gonna do a crazy bunch of volume. Like this afternoon, we're actually going to the lake, and my workout will actually just be like 1 mile run, 800-meter swim, rest, and do that one more time. you know, just try to prime the body for what's coming, and yeah, that's it. I mean, I don't really think about it. Like, it is what it is. Like, even if I like it or I don't like it, I can control what's happening on the floor or what the workout is. So at the end, I just got to be okay with that. And like, I just wish that they will not announce any workout. That's that's a
Interesting.
that's a part of me. I'm like, we say that CrossFit is kind of like the sports to be ready for the unknown, you know. But now we're like, we know that we're gonna run and swim on Thursday morning early, and Saturday morning we're all gonna do Chad. And I believe that today or tomorrow they're gonna release another workout, you know. So I feel like I don't know. I would just love to get there on Thursday and be like, oh, by the way, we got to meet here at 5 a.m. tomorrow. You'll know the first workout. You know, that would be just. I mean, that's me. I feel like it would make it more interesting for everyone. But I understand the business side of it, and like
I don't think anyone does, to be honest.
Making people excited about the games, it's coming, and all that stuff. So
yeah, I like that. And I know you mentioned obviously other competitions or other things you want to do. I know you said with Dave Castro you're training with people that are doing Ironmans. Is that right? So is that potentially on the cards, or will that be a post CrossFit career thing?
I mean, I definitely want to do one in my life. That's for sure. I've never been like when I started CrossFit back in the days, I've never been like the best runner, So I had to do more work on that. But because I did more work on my run, I kind of like fall in love with it. Same for the swim, same for bike. So I'm just at this point, I'm like, you know what? Why not? I really want to do like a full Ironman one day in my life, just to be like, I'm gonna do a thing that's gonna take me between 12 to 13 hours to do, and all those three things. I mean, I do enjoy them now, but it's still like three things that my body is not good at. So once again, just the competitor side of me, just trying to push the limits. So yeah, I mean, definitely, I want to do a Ironman later in my life. I'm probably gonna start with the F1. I want to do some paddleboard racing, kayak racing, maybe some cycling too, like longer distance cycling. Maybe go back to like boxing, like the training boxing stuff after CrossFit, just because I missed it too. I don't know. Who knows? I'll be down for whatever. Like if friends of mine just like, I mean, I'm going to Hot Rocks in October. Like I feel like everyone is doing it, so I'm like, hey, why not? I will not train for that full time as an athlete, but it looks fun just to go. Like it looks fun to do once. So and a bunch of friends of mine were actually going, so I just I was like, you know what, I'll sign up. Why not? So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm hoping for whatever will come to my mind and I want to do, but I'm definitely going to try to do a lot of things after CrossFit.
Yeah, why not? So just before I ask you the quick fire questions, I'm just curious, do you have a goal going into the games, or is it just to enjoy?
I mean, I want to enjoy and finish my weekend. Actually, that's the goal this season. I feel like outside of 2022, there's always been like like 2021, I got sick from the lake, couldn't compete the way I can. Last year, I broke my back on the sandbag workout, so couldn't compete the way I could. So I always got caught before the Sunday. So going into this year games, I will be competing more wisely, I think, on some workouts, and just to play it maybe a little more safe and make it to the end of the weekend. Like that's my goal. I want to enjoy I just want to enjoy every workout, good or bad, and be there on Sunday and finish my weekend. That's the goal.
I love that. Well, I for one am very excited to watch, and we'll be cheering along. So before I let you go, I do have to ask you some quick fire questions, of course.
All right.
So first and foremost, what is your favorite lift?
Snatch.
Nice. Your favorite overall CrossFit movement?
Handstand walk.
Your favorite benchmark WOD?
I do love Cindy.
Nice.
Yeah, easy, simple. You can do that whatever you want in the park. Found something just to do some strict pull-ups on it, and it's an easy workout to do whatever you are.
Nice. And my final question, if you were to go back to the games on a dream team, who would you have with you?
That's a tricky question.
Mm.
As a team, dream team, I would bring back Rich Froning from his retirement. That's for sure. He would never say yes to that, but I'll try. And for the girls, I mean, honestly, I think I could just go back with the same team as 2022.
I think
Yeah.
I still think you'd win.
Yeah, you know what? At this point, it did. I mean, it did work out pretty good at the end. So why not going back with the same team?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. I feel like we need a Canadian team at some point. Like
That's
a
in
couple more.
that is in my mind. Don't worry about that. It is in the plan. I don't know when, but it is in my plan to make a Canadian team.
Nice. Well, I look forward to that, and I'll keep this saved for when that happens. But no, Sam, thank you so much for chatting, and best of luck with the weekend and for whatever's to come. I look forward to cheering you on and supporting.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.